This is Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag. Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag is Baton Rouge's longest running and best television show. Who would have believed that?
My best friend, Lee Feinswag, look at the Christmas.
Sports 225 is brought to you by Breck. Remember, it all starts at Breck. Now, your host, Lee Feinswag.
Well, he's laughing already, and we haven't even made any jokes. I'm Lee Feinswag at Sports 225, and my guest is Matt Moscona, he of Daily Radio fame. How are you? So the other day...
I'm doing great, Rudy. Thanks for having me back on the show. It's good to be back.
Starting already. So every Monday at 5:15 on 104.5 ESPN on Matt's show, which runs from 3 to 6, Monday through Friday. Also in New Orleans on 100.3. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that. My intro was preceded by another intro announcing you as, and now back to, with the award-winning, whatever. What award did you win?
Oh, this year the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters, they do their annual prestige awards, and my radio show, AFR, was named the Sports Radio Show of the Year.
Very nice.
So it was a great honor.
AFR
Very cool.
stands for After Further Review, which I always thought it was upon further review.
Nope,
but
you get the wrong preposition. It's after.
Yeah. Anyway, Matt's here.
See, then it would be UFR, but it's not. It's AFR.
It's AFR.
AFR.
So he's just Mr. Media now. He's doing a little bit of everything. He's writing for a thing called Gridiron now and opining about football.
Yeah. 225 asked me to do a LSU preseason piece. I did that.
Right.
I'm also wearing jeans with tennis shoes. And Ryan Terrio says that anyone that wears jeans with tennis shoes can kick rocks because it's lazy. Do you think this is lazy? You would know because you're lazy.
I'm the worst dresser
you
anybody
are.
met.
So that's why I'm asking you. Is this a bad look?
Not at all.
Good.
So the first year of the show, 1995, I'm on the treadmill at the YMCA. Two weird things happened that day. One was there was a row of treadmills, and everybody's cranking along, and all of a sudden the promo for the show came up, and it was real early on the show, like maybe the third or fourth week, and you could.
People are looking at you.
So a woman comes up to me and she goes, "Can I tell you something?" I said, "What?" And she goes, "I watched your show." And I said, "Well, thank you." And she said, "And I like it." And I said, "Well, thank you." She goes, "But you're way too classy to wear jeans on television." And I said to her, "No, I'm not."
No, I'm not. No way. No, he's not, lady.
And
if you're watching still wearing jeans.
So let's say there were well over 600 Sports Mondays.
Okay.
Low sixes. And now this is show 179 of Sports 225.
It says it right there on the rundown.
It does. So that'll put us, thank you very much. Give me that. So
I was showing the people.
So
you don't think they're interested in that?
Well into the mid 800s for shows, probably.
Yeah.
Because I lost count of the old Sports Mondays. The point is that means I've probably worn jeans well over 800 times on television. So, yeah. Now what's with Terrio and the thing called Kick Rocks?
Segment we do at Ryan Terrio on Fridays.
What does that mean?
And, so his partner at Traction Sports Performance, Mac Chiuili, who's the founder, CEO, head trainer there.
And a wonderful guy.
He is. Mac always says kick rocks. So kick rocks is like a get out of here, that sort of thing.
Okay.
It's sort of like a degrading thing.
Yeah.
Like you insult me, say, hey, kick rocks, sort of thing.
So
Terrio tells people
let me reset
to
the
kick
show
rocks.
just a little bit, just so in the event anybody stays with it, whatever. We will actually talk sports, but I gotta give homage to the guy here. So he writes for Gridiron now. Of course, he has his radio show, and now you're doing. Of course, you do this at least once every couple of months, which is as good as it gets for you.
Yeah, top of the line.
And then now you're also doing LSU preseason football show for CST.
Yeah, Eric Ritchie over at CST asked me to kind of co-host with him on the training camp show over on CST. So it's been a lot of fun to do some more TV. I enjoy TV. I like seeing the people and letting the people see me and having this, you and me. So I've enjoyed it, the cameras and the lights and the makeup and the such. I'm not wearing makeup right now, by the way.
Did you ever get any training for how to talk to on radio or in television before you did it?
Well, the best training I ever got was working with Ed Buggs. You know, Ed was a super talent, and he was the first guy I ever worked with in radio. I was his producer, so I was basically locked in a little booth with him for 4 hours a day every day for 5 years, and super talent, man. And you know, during breaks on the show, he would at times just kind of come in the doorway between his side, the on-air, and the producer side, and he would just talk about what he did and why he did it. And I'm sure part of him knew he was educating me, but part of it was just his therapy and a break to explain why he was doing what he was doing and what he was going to do next. And man, there's still things that I do every day that are him, that are Ed Buggs. I mean,
Ed was extremely talented and a very likable
incredible
fellow. He
talent,
had demons.
man.
The late Ed Buggs was cool. You know, and to get us out of here on this random note for this first segment.
Would you expect anything less?
No.
I mean,
So
come on,
the way I
really?
got into any electronic media was doing a radio show before LSU basketball games, back in the 90s, and the guy who worked the board was a young radio wannabe named Gordy Rush. And Gordy was kind enough to tape the shows for me, give me the cassettes afterwards. Then I would play them in my car, and as I was driving around, to listen to myself on the radio and realized how bad I was and things I had to correct. And radio made you a better speaker. It made you think on your feet. Radio was good, and so I learned a lot from that. Because when I started Sports Monday, the first time I ever looked into a camera live as a host was the first show.
Yeah.
I had no prep for that.
Wow.
Yeah. All
Gordy
right.
Rush.
Yep.
Little breakfast sandwiches just ain't cutting it. Go to Shoney's and get the buffet.
He's Matt Moscona. He does a radio show. I'm Lee Feinswag. I do a TV show. It's called Sports 225.
Sort of.
And we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Joe Martin, president of ITI Technical College, and I really encourage you to come out to our 12-acre campus here on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge.
Contact ITI to enroll in our Construction Management Associate and Occupational Studies degree program. Learn to plan, coordinate, budget, and supervise construction projects and collaborate with engineers and architects in the residential, commercial, industrial, and heavy civil construction industry sectors. Call now about this new, exciting career degree. ITI Technical College. Begin your journey to a better life.
We're back on Sports 225, hanging out with Matt Moscona. Matt does a radio show every day from 3 to 6 on 104.5 ESPN in Baton Rouge and 100.3 in New Orleans, and on the interwebs through apps and all sorts of things, And
Smart people know how to find it.
when we do the Monday gig, I listen to it on the computer on my desktop, and so I listen there, and it's about a full minute behind, give or take, there. And so I'm always curious after we get off, I hit the sound back on and listen and make sure you're not ripping me as you go to break or anything.
Why would I do that?
Because you would, if you had reason to. But
If I had reason
no,
to.
you're very kind.
If I had reason to, I would.
You're very kind.
But it wouldn't be personal. It would just be if I disagreed with you on something.
We mostly agree on a lot of things. We both agree that it's exciting this week that football season's starting.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
It is kind of fun. It's been a long
You're
time
going to
coming.
Green Bay.
I'm leaving for Green Bay on Thursday. So when this airs on Thursday, I will be in Green Bay, not sitting here in this chair.
Are you doing a show Thursday in Green
Doing
Bay?
Thursday show in Green Bay,
Wow,
and
so
then Friday from Lambeau Field, which would be a lot of fun. That's kind of a bucket list type thing, man. I mean, I wouldn't say that doing a radio show from Lambeau is something that I've always dreamed of doing, but it's definitely a very cool opportunity that doing the job I do affords me. So I'll be right there at the main atrium at Lambeau Field doing my show on Friday. I got roped into doing the post-game show with Charles Hannegriff on Eagle 98.1. So after the game, I'll be on as well.
The NFL films music and on the frozen tundra. You're not even close. That's not the NFL films music. Steve Sabo rolling over in his grave.
That is the NFL films music.
Right,
I'll play it for you later.
Before he was born, there was better music. Anyway, so Lambeau, I told you that I went there when I interviewed for a job covering the Packers, which I didn't get, and I ended up with the job at the Avenue. Stop it. You're wrong. I'm telling you, it's not. You're not even in the neighborhood on the tunes. So what do you anticipate?
I'm going to go find that cut and play it for you, and you will be dead wrong.
That was the NFL films music.
I'm
Anyway,
just very fired up that I got to get you to do that on live TV or on TV.
Yeah, well, TV. What do you expect out of this football game between LSU and Wisconsin?
I don't expect this game to be competitive at all. I don't think Wisconsin has the horses to run with LSU. And I know this was a competitive game in 2014. That was a little more veteran Wisconsin team that had some quarterback questions, but had two really good running backs, a big veteran offensive line. Wisconsin has one guy on the offensive line that's started a significant amount of time. That's 13 games. They lose 3 of their top 4 leading tacklers from a year ago, and Dave Aranda, who's now with LSU. A lot of people throw out the stat that Wisconsin was 4th against the run nationally last year, which they were, but they also gave up 230 yards rushing to Alabama. Derrick Henry ripped off 11 yards a carry in that game. In games against Hawaii where they allowed -3 yards rushing, kind of skewed their yardage total. Good defense. They're just not. They don't have the horses to run with this LSU team.
How many yards per carry will LSU average, not only in that game, but this season, with this running back core that they have and an offensive line that you would expect would be very good?
I mean, I don't know. Like if you asked me Leonard Fournette's yards per carry, I figured he'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of 6, which seems absurd, but he's going to rip off long runs, and there will be those games where he averages 10, 11 yards a carry. And there'll be somewhere he comes back, sort of to the fold. But that's what LSU's got to do, Lee, and they're going to run the ball 65% of their plays because it's what they do.
I said that to you the other day. I said, do you expect anything other than a 65-35 run-pass ratio?
No.
Or maybe even greater? No.
No, I mean,
but you laughed when I said
you
it.
brought up, you mentioned the Cox show that I'm doing with Eric Ritchie.
Right.
And Eric did this over-under thing with me where he gave me 5 questions and, over-under this or that. And he said, receptions for Leonard Fournette. He's got 26 in his career. He said, let's set the over-under at 26 for this season. And I belly laughed at him. Like, are you kidding? They don't throw the ball to the running backs. Guy called my show the other day and said, hey, man, I really like this new tight end, Ja'Cory Washington, real athletic. They're going to get him the ball? No, they're not going to throw the ball to the tight end. They're not going to throw it to the running backs. They're not going to throw it to the tight ends. They're boring and predictable, and it's going to work for 8 or 9 games, and then there's going to be these 3 swing games that are going to be really close, and they're not going to have as much success, and it's going to be a fourth quarter game, and can they make a play? And that's going to be the season.
And so let's just say you're throwing the ball 20 times. You'd have to make 2 of those receptions to Leonard Fournette per game. So just to debunk the whole idea.
Which could happen, theoretically, if they wanted to. I think the bigger question is, do they reduce Leonard Fournette's workload this year? Had 300 carries on the number a season ago. Do you see that number come down and Darius Geis's number go up? Just so you don't wear out Fournette. I don't think that's going to happen.
See, I would think that you would have him carry it 400 times.
Well, they will remember this though.
Right? No,
They didn't play the McNeese game, so they will play at least 1 extra game this year, and possibly if they make the playoff in the national championship game, they'll end up playing 15 games this year. So Leonard's total yards this year should be more than they were a year ago. Will his yards per game or yards per carry increase? That's going to be tough because I don't know that he'll have a Superman-like stretch that he did in that 3-game stretch in September where he ran for more than 200 yards.
He'll break some, like you said, he'll break some away. All right, you said something interesting there, national championship game. We'll pick up there when we get back. He's Matt Moscona. I'm Lee Feinswag. It's Sports 225.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
We are back on Sports 225, a show that comes to you weekly for, in its 22nd year. First it was Sports Monday for like 14 or 15 years, and now it's Sports 225, and Matt Moscona was, I can't even remember. Were you ever on the old Sports Monday?
Maybe. I don't remember either. Probably.
I
Probably.
Yeah, you've been around long enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. When did you start doing Sports 225? When did it switch?
I overlapped the two for a while, about 7 years ago, and we actually did both for a little bit, just to see how it would come out. And
Maybe I started coming on while you transitioned to Sports 225.
The origins of this show were simply awful, but well, because it was just it's a brave new world anyway, and some people could say it still is, but that's a whole nother story. So you said, well, if LSU were to play in the playoffs and go to the national championship game, how realistic is that in your mind?
Yeah,
in today's world, the climate, the country, the SEC, this LSU team, I guess you got to take it up the ladder.
Well, let's operate under the assumption that the SEC champion is going to be in the playoff.
Okay, there's no doubt. And it will come from the SEC West, like it always does.
It would take a scenario like LSU 2001. A 3-loss team got to Atlanta, played Tennessee, who was number 2 in the country, pulled off the upset. So that LSU team would not have gone in this format to the national championship. So it would take something like a 3-loss team from the East getting to Atlanta and upsetting the West champion for the SEC to get left out. Last year, Ole Miss, remember, had lost to Memphis. They had beaten Alabama early in the year, but they had an ugly loss to Memphis. They got blown out at Florida. Had Ole Miss not fallen victim to that hideous 4th and 25 play against Arkansas, they just throw the ball over the shoulder and they converted. Do you remember that play? Anyway, Ole Miss would have gone to Atlanta, not Alabama. Ole Miss would have been in Atlanta, and Ole Miss, had they been the conference champion, was not, because of that hideous loss to Memphis and a blowout loss at Florida, they would not have been in the playoff. So there are ways the SEC could get left out. But present day, assuming LSU is a 1-loss team, undefeated 1-loss team, the SEC champion is going to be in the playoff. So if LSU wins the West, they go to Atlanta. I think most people would assume the West champion, whoever it is going to be favored in that game. I mean, there's your path. So you asked how realistic, extremely realistic. And being that they return 18 starters, more than anybody in the country, and they're one of only 3 teams in the entire conference that return a starting quarterback, I mean, I understand why the odds are what they are for LSU to be there.
LSU returns the most players
in the country. 18.
Somehow I did not know that.
Because you don't listen to my show enough.
Well,
I say that like every day.
I listen to it
like every day.
I listen to it from 5 to 5:15 before I come on Monday.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Anyway, and then sometimes after at 5:30 to like 5:45
to see if I'm insulting you. I'm gonna start. Yeah, so LSU's got a great opportunity. I mean, I'm not sunshine pumping. Like, I don't think they're going undefeated.
No,
they've done it once under Les Miles. I think they have to prove they can beat Alabama, which I don't think they'll do this year because they haven't proven they can.
It's the LSU-Alabama game, though, again, that I'm sure we agree on is going to decide the SEC Western Championship.
Probably, yeah.
I just like last year we were also taken aback early, especially by Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Remember, it was like, wow, maybe they're for real, and they kind of were.
That was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago when Ole Miss and Mississippi State were both in the first playoff ranking.
Yeah, years. Anyway, but
you should listen to my show. You would know these things.
Right. Well, 2 years ago, and that was Auburn too, right?
Auburn last year was favored, was picked by the media to win the SEC West, and then they finished last in the division.
Yeah, that was and so. Again, LSU, Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, but LSU also has tricky games at Auburn, at Florida, places they traditionally haven't played well. And, Florida to me this year feels like Florida in 2012. And LSU went down and lost that 12-6, the hammer and the nail game, or 14-6, whatever it was, where Kevin Minter made like a bajillion tackles. But nobody went in that game thinking LSU was going to lose that game, and they just couldn't move the ball against Florida.
That's always the most entertaining game. The LSU-Florida game. It's a wonderful game usually.
Especially down there.
Yeah.
It's just been a tough place for LSU to play.
You ever been there?
Yeah, many times.
Yeah. No chance of taking the radio show down there?
I don't think this year. That's your former radio producer Gordy Rush's decision. Maybe he can get us a cassette tape and let us know if we can go.
and little breakfast sandwiches. Go to Shoney's and ride a bicycle
I have no idea what you're talking about.
and get your hair done.
These are endorsements that Gordy does, and I'm just making fun of it in the Gordy voice.
Oh, I see. I know what you're saying.
Get your fake hair.
He's become a soccer fan too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he likes it.
yeah, that's good.
My torn soleus muscle. Trigger point dry needling.
What's a soleus?
I don't know, but he talks about it in a radio spot about getting trigger point dry needling in his torn soleus
All right,
muscle.
well, we got to take our last break, and when we do, I'm going to get on the phone and look up soleus.
I think it's in your shoulder.
Okay. He's Matt Moscona. When he gets back, I'm going to ask him to take a look at the national picture in college football. I'm Lee Feinswag. It's Sports 225.
We entertain a lot at our house. So one good thing is you never want little creepy crawlers running around when you're entertaining. And you can always count on the bug man to make sure that parties go smooth.
Call the bug man today, 923-BUGS.
The bug man is wonderful.
Coming down the home stretch of another Sports 225, lest I forget, thanks to Nils Breckhoff, coming out of the bullpen today to direct the show. He is the czar of all things here at Cox 4. And, of course, to Matt Moscona for being here with me, who I'll thank again at the end of the show because I'm just a thanking kind of guy.
You used to give me water. I don't have water now.
I know, I forgot.
There used to be water on that
table.
table.
And our friends at Coke Powerade give us Dasani water, and I usually bring it. And so I apologize to them and to you, and actually to my throat is a little parched as well.
I wanted water.
And the one
It's
I
not
left in
there.
the car, will be right in that direct sunlight. It'll be too hot to drink when I get back. It's no doubt.
Brutal.
All right, so I messed up. So college football, who you like? Give me 5 teams.
I mean, it's the same teams everybody says.
You're not just everybody.
LSU, but LSU, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Michigan. You look at those teams, Oklahoma out of the Big 12. If you want an off-the-radar team or teams,
I do.
The league that was left out last year, the playoff, was the Pac-12.
Yep.
Everyone's going to pick Stanford in that league this year, and I understand why. They have Christian
You like
McCaffrey
UCLA,
back.
I bet.
I like UCLA and Washington. Chris Peterson, the old Boise State coach,
yeah.
he's got a veteran team. I think those two teams are ranked in the teens, and if you're looking for a team to do what Oklahoma did last year and make a move, those two I think are poised to do it. UCLA week 1 is at Kyle Field. They play A&M. That could be very telling. If UCLA goes 2 College Station wins in week 1, look out. That sends them on the trajectory.
Jerry DiNardo was a guest on the show a million years ago while he was the coach at LSU. So we're taping it, and I really run out of things. But so at the end, we come out of the break for the last segment. I say, so, tell me what you think about the national scene this year. And he looks at me and he goes, well, I hear Washington's going to be good. And he just stops. And he knew he had me. So then I just hemmed and hawed and somehow got us out of the show. So the next year at the exact same juncture, unrehearsed, and I said to him, so who's going to be good in the country this year? And he looks at me and goes, I hear Washington's going to be good, and just stops. But I was ready for him. It just made me think about when you said Washington.
That crafty old coach, Jerry D.
I talked to him not too long ago, and he's doing well. Of course, he's
Big Ten Network, man. He's doing really great on the Big Ten Network.
All right, LSU prediction in 10 seconds or less. What are they going to do?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't made a pick yet. They'll probably lose 2 games somewhere along the way. Go 10-2, and we'll see if the breaks fall their way to get into back to Atlanta. But if they don't get to Atlanta this year, I don't know when it's going to happen, man.
He's Matt Moscona. You can follow him at Matt Moscona. You can listen to him from 3 to 6 every day on 104.5 ESPN. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. And this has been another Sports 225. There he goes. He's fading. He's fading. Going out of the bullpen. He's fading. Nice.
At carnival time by Baton Rouge Bay, that's the site of my story. At Spanish Town Mardi Gras, things can get blurry. See the mowers marching, prizes fill the sky. This Spanish Town Mardi Gras, may it never die. Poetry was everywhere, sweet music filled the air, and just then she glanced my way.